I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed your speech and appreciate taking some time to talk to us. So I just have a couple of questions that were brought up after your presentation. We would like to know, do you know the difference between rotating and permanent credit? And if you do, what is that difference?
I think the terms are different in the United States and Canada.
Okay.
My understanding is that rotating credit is something that you can borrow on any time.
Okay.
Permanent credit is not something that you can do that with.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I think it's a different terminology in Canada than in the United States.
What's your feeling of a line of credit versus credit card? Do you think one is more viable
It
than the
depends
other?
upon where the line of credit is coming from.
Okay.
If it's a home equity loan, that's different than if it's a credit card. I think the bottom line is you have to look at what the interest rate is that you're paying and whether the interest rate is tax deductible or not.
Potentially owing debts to the IRS or Canada Revenue Agency. When people find themselves in those type of situations, do you believe that it's better for them to put a lump sum on it? Do you think that they should maybe cut a deal? You know, if it exceeds $50,000, look, I've got $25,000. I will pay this off, and you don't charge me the interest. I know I've heard of that before, so I don't know. Do you have a feeling towards that, or what would you advise in that regard?
Well, first of all, if you owe the government money, you're always going to have to pay it. There's no way you're not going to pay it because they can put you into prison.
Absolutely.
So you have to pay it.
Okay.
The other thing is that everything is negotiable. So you need to cut yourself the best deal that you can. Maybe you need a lawyer. You need to cut yourself a good deal, obviously, to sort of cut that down. The other part of it is that you need to have a payment schedule that you can meet. In other words, if you have a schedule where you're paying $300 a month and you can't really afford to do that, then you need to say, okay, I can only afford $200 a month. The government, in my experience, it goes for every government in the world, they just want their money. They actually don't want to put you in jail.
Absolutely.
But they want their money, and they will get their money, and they will charge you interest to do it.
This is another question kind of going off of what you said. So you were talking about potential to be arrested or imprisoned in the United States, as well as Canada. I'm not 100% sure, but typically in those circumstances, why would somebody be arrested or incarcerated? To what extent do their debts need to be?
This is really only debts to the governments.
Yeah.
My experience has been, again, that governments do not want to put you in prison.
Right.
They want their money. If you're in prison, you can't give them their money.
Absolutely.
But the only time that people are put in prison for not paying their tax bill, not for other debts, but for their tax bill, is because they've flaunted the government. There's a classic case of a guy who was on that show Survivor, Richard Hatch, who refused to pay the tax on the $1 million that he got from the show, and they were making an example of him. They just plain and simple work. And I can't tell you why he didn't pay the money. Obviously he had it, or maybe he didn't have it, maybe he spent it. But they put him in prison for 5 years. He just didn't want to pay it. And the thing is, once you're in prison, you still have to pay the debt. You get out, but you still have to pay the debt. So he gained nothing by being a jerk.
Percentage that you believe should be set aside for savings?
10% is the number you always hear, and I think it's probably a good number, but it depends upon everybody. Everybody's different. Depends on what their expenses are. Some people have much higher expenses that can't be brought down, and some people don't. So I think 10% is a number to start with.
Trying to combat a low credit score, do you feel like compiling all your debts and trying to pay that down will help achieve that? Or
Consolidating your debts in and of itself will not give you a better credit score. But what will help your credit score is if you pay off your debts. So if a consolidation loan will help you pay off your debts, then yes, the answer is yes. Yes, if a consolidation loan will not help you pay off your loans, the answer is no.
awesome. Okay, well that's all the questions I have for you. I really
Because
appreciate
I run out of answers.
it. Okay, great. Thank you so
I have no
much.
more.
Have a